we are off and running. All right. So hopefully you guys like cutting out that Wednesday meeting and then we just meet on Mondays and Fridays. Can I get some thumbs up on that? Is that cool? Okay, good. Because I just don't think it's necessary to meet here 3 times a week on Zoom, where I could just kind of midweek. All right, Michael, what's up, buddy?
Hi.
Midweek, I can give you guys like those notes and things like that, and then we can move along like that. That's how we're going to run basically from now until for the next 4 weeks. Okay, we'll just do it like we'll meet on Monday. We'll go over stuff that we want to do for the week, and then we'll meet on Friday and have kind of a discussion type day, and then we'll break. All right. So that's how we're going to move for the future. Couple things, announcements. All right. Make sure you complete your forum post number 5. Okay. A lot of people, like 11, 12 of you have done it already. We've been reading through them. Great stuff. Make sure you complete those by Sunday night. All right. By Sunday night. Who's that, Michael?
That's my dad.
Oh, howdy.
Good to get busy.
All right.
All right. I'll leave Tim.
See you later.
Good stuff. Secondly, I'm going to put in some things that just to get you so you guys have this things to maybe look at and do over the weekend. I want to have us read pages 754 to 759, and that starts in our book on this thing called the Scramble for Africa. Okay, and hopefully, if you haven't, you've viewed the video and gone through some of the notes and picked up on some of the things that we're getting into with this word down here called imperialism. Okay, because that's kind of what nationalism turns into, is this thing called imperialism. And it's, like I said in the notes, it's really ugly, it's really despicable, and it's hard to talk about sometimes, but we got to talk about awkward stuff just like we got to talk about fun stuff in here too. So I'm going to put that in when I send out our invite, and when I send out what I kind of want you to look at over the weekend. All right, because we won't have anything written over the weekend because we want to finish our forum posts, but I want to do and I'll put in some of the things that I want you to focus on to bring to maybe a talk on Monday, but I'll write it down here in the chat just to begin with. All right. I'm going to put causes and reasons behind why imperialism happened. Okay. That's one of the things I want you guys to kind of maybe start writing down in your notes. All right. What makes Europe and the United States think that this is okay? Okay, that's the big thing I want you guys to focus on over the weekend, is Europe and the United States start taking all kinds of territories in Africa and imposing their will on the African nations and on Asian countries. And the big thing I want you guys to try and figure out over the weekend is, why in the heck do these people think this is okay? Like, because we know today in the modern world, thank God, that like it's not, you can't do that. Like it's not right. You can't just impose with military and force and other types of things, just impose your country on somebody else's. Okay, we know that today to be wrong, but they didn't 100 years ago. And I want to see if you guys can come up with some of the reasons why they thought this was cool. Let's, this is perfectly fine. These people want our culture, and we should just export it and give it to them. Okay, so that's the big thing I want to focus on over the weekend, is why do you think that those people in Europe and the United States thought it was okay to take these places?
Are those reasons in the textbook?
They are. They're located on 754 to 759, but they're also ones that I kind of want you guys just to think up on your own too. obviously the one that's probably going off in your head and occurring the first would be racial things. Okay, obviously we're going to start to get into some touchy areas where white European nations and the United States think that it's perfectly okay to take over places in Africa and Asia for racial reasons, meaning that they felt that they were just simply better. Okay, and like I said, today those are ugly and disgusting things to talk about, but we have to talk about them because they happened. Okay, so that's probably one of the first ones that I want you guys to think about, but try and come up with some other ones over the weekend.
Is everything as well that you kind of want us to do? Are you going to send that kind of like listed in like an email?
Going to send it in the announcement and within the module, along with your guys' invite for Monday's session.
Cool.
All right. So today, basically, what we want to do is I read through all of your CPAs. Everybody, pretty much everybody, turned in their CPAs for today, and some of the cool things that you guys were putting about these national anthems were making me laugh. They were really good and in depth. Some of them were. So let's just, like I said, let's try to take a minute here and get out a couple. You can write them in the chat, or you can just go ahead and blurt them out. All of you are unmuted now. What are some of the cool things that you guys saw in some of these national anthems that you didn't see in either the United States national anthem, and like I said, the forum post is what would you add to our national anthem if you wanted to add anything. What are some of the things that you guys saw? Like, if we can get out some words. Emma, I like that one. Emma says, I like references to the land. Good. Patience says Italian national anthem sounds like a merry-go-round or a circus soundtrack. It does. It does. I love that. Like I said, if you can't be happy listening to the Italian national anthem, you're dead inside. And I don't know what else to tell you. Like, if you can't sing along with that national anthem, and I'm sure you guys have seen those videos on, the Twitter sphere or the Insta face or the face, whatever face you guys are using now, tick face, talk face, all that good stuff. The Italians sort of hanging off their balconies and singing their national anthem. They still, to this day, there's hundreds of those videos out there. The Italians still to this day revere that national anthem. That they just love it, and it's fun to watch people sing together. Cool thing that I saw over the weekend, or not over the weekend, but I was reading during the week, is people that are locked down in New York City. I don't know if you saw this video. Somebody tried to do the Italian thing where they all sing to each other off their apartment balconies, and this dude got out like 3 words of the song, and everybody on the other balconies was like, shut the bleep up, like, quit singing. And it was just so perfectly like New York. Like, the dude was trying to do something cool like they did in Italy, and the New Yorkers were like, shut up. And I was like, ugh, how New York is that? So perfect. Oh man. All right, so other ones. This is good. You guys are getting out some really good ones. Bish, you say the French national anthem was extremely violent. I think that's a big one. I'm going to write that in there in big letters. I don't mean to be aggressive with my all caps here, but sorry. Violence is something that you don't see in the American national anthem, but you see. I mean, that French national anthem where they were talking about slitting people's throats, and we're going to water our fields with the impure blood. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up that you see in a lot of national anthems, is that phrase impure blood, because this is going to be big when we start talking about imperialism is people, you start thinking, hey man, my blood, my French blood, or my English blood, or my German blood, or my American blood, like we're different. We're better than you just by the makeup of ourselves. All right. I like that one. Emma, you make a comment. The French one sounds like a piece of classical music. It does. You know, Martial is it's a nice piece of music. It's just you get in the middle of it and it's like, holy bleep! Like, what kind of turn to crazy town did we just take here? Because, you know, like I said, I wouldn't try to even imagine how much it would hit the fan if we had in our American national anthem, like, you mess with us, we're going to slit your throats. And then we're going to water our fields of Iowa. We're going to water our cornfields with your blood. Like, it sounds like a Toby Keith song, but, you know, maybe I can get him to write that. I like Toby Keith. How dare you? Oh, good stuff. Yeah. And then, like, again, that German national anthem where it's talking about Germany over everyone in the world. I think that's another big one to pick out. Excellent. Anybody else throwing in things? I mean, that you picked up on. Go ahead, type it in, call it out, whatever you guys think. We can do another minute or two on this.
I thought the German national anthem, but like they were like yelling at me to like.
Yes. Yeah. So that was Olivia. I liked reading that in your CPA where you're like, it was, and I'll type that word in here. It was aggressive.
Yeah.
What about if you guys had to choose between whether you guys think that these things are do you think they were written for men or were they written for women or what do you guys think they were written for?
I actually couldn't tell you.
Like, if you're like going through these national anthems, are they do you see a lot of spots for thanks for getting in there, Sean. These are very male orientated things, aren't they not? I mean, these are like hugely patriarchal things. And it's a lot of brotherhood and it's a lot of rah-rah. It's a lot of dudes coming together and fighting. Okay. And that's just something that's interesting. That's something that's interesting about our American national anthem is it seems kind of gender neutral. Like there's not a lot of that going on in our American national anthem, which is interesting. Patience. I remember, the few people picked this up that the German one does mention women. It does mention wine. But the cool thing about the German national anthem is it mentions these things. It mentions borders. Okay. The German one does mention borders a lot. It's like we're from, they call from the Mass to the Memel, which is in Germany, it's like saying from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Okay, they're rivers in Germany. So in America, it'd be kind of like saying from the Rio Grande to the Mississippi, something like that. So that's another thing that the American national anthem doesn't have it doesn't have any specificity with land. It doesn't say from Canada to Mexico and or from Pacific to Atlantic. It just kind of amorphous. Remember, the American national anthem was written by a guy named Francis Scott Key as he was being held in a British prisoner of war ship off the coast of Baltimore. So what happened was the like we talked about, the British came over in the War of 1812 and just kicked the bleep out of us and took a bunch of prisoners and had them on prisoner of war ships off the coast of Baltimore, off the coast of DC, off the coast of New York, off the coast of Charleston. And one of the guys sitting on the prisoner of war ship was watching Baltimore just be shelled by the British warships. And that's where you get the bombs bursting in air. All right. And so he watched Baltimore get absolutely destroyed overnight. But then he said, when we woke up in the morning, the flag was still there. That's where that all comes from. Okay. That's where and when I woke up in the morning, the flag was still there, reigning over the land of the free and the home of the brave. So that was, hopefully, if you guys got a little context behind that song, that's when that was written. It was written as a kind of a war cry song. All right. And then not many people know that. Good stuff. So let's talk here a few more minutes. Like I said, about 5 more minutes or so, and then we'll go ahead and get on and get out of here for the weekend. One of the things that I'm going to share my screen with you guys now. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that you really did get from the notes the other day is this slide right here. I think is terribly important. Okay. When Bismarck and the European nations get together at Berlin in 1885, talked about on page 754. All right. This is just such a perfectly awful picture to look at, where you have just a bunch of elitist individuals planning out basically, okay, basically, like I said, they said, friends, we can't attack each other on Europe. Bismarck wouldn't allow it. But what we can do is we can go out and we can take other places. We can go out and we can take places in Africa, and we can take places in Asia, and then we won't go to war with each other here. Okay? That was the big thing to come of that. And like I said, it's ugly, it's awful, it's disgusting, and it's imperialistic. And so one of the things we're going to do next week too is I want you guys to think about, we don't do imperialism militarily so much today, but we do it in other ways. Like we have economic imperialism, right? And people like that or they don't like that. The best example to come to mind is like if you go to, Moscow, during the height of the Cold War, you could go to Moscow and you could get Kentucky Fried Chicken. There was a KFC in Moscow, and it was always like puzzling to me, like, okay, this nation's communistic, it hates Western culture, but there's a KFC and a McDonald's in Red Square. Okay, so those ways of imperialism are still around today, economic imperialism. Some people like it, some people don't. You can ask, like I said, you can kind of go around the board. We're going to do that next week. Lastly, but not leastly, I want you guys to see this map right here. Okay, this is the big one that we talked about at the very end. Just crazy amounts of, and I'm going to come to this map right here. All right, this is the one that I want to look at as we get into next week. I mean, this map, this map right here, sorry about that, guys. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. This map looks exactly like the one on page 755 in your book. Okay, I can come back to it. Sorry, I'm not hit the wrong button. I got to share that screen. Apologize. Page 755. If you're looking in your book, has a map right here that looks a heck of a lot like this map, which is this division of Africa. It looks like, it looks comical in the modern world to look at how much territory was just split up and divided and taken by people. So again, your big thing over the weekend, guys, is we got to figure out, and I'm going to show you another picture here, if I can scroll down on the PowerPoint, is the United States did the same thing. Okay, the United States did the same thing. It's just that our imperialism wasn't in Africa. We were invited. The United States was invited to the Berlin Conference in 1885 to see if we wanted any African territory, and we're like, nope, peace, we're good. We're taking enough stuff over here. We were right in the middle of taking Hawaii. All right. We were right in the middle of taking places like the Philippines and Guam and Alaska. We're like, nah, we're good, boys. We don't need any territory in Africa. We're taking territory out here in the Pacific Ocean and as well in places like Port. Right? So that's the big thing with the United States is we don't take any country in Africa. We take zero territory because we're like on places in the Pacific. Okay. So again, guys, that's the big thing to concentrate for over the weekend. All right. And I'll send it out with our invite for Monday, and I'll send it out on the modules is what in the heck makes these countries think this is okay. Okay. And obviously, like I said, I gave you one already.
So
yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, so basically, the video you sent out, yeah, already do that. Mm-hmm. And then are you sending out another narrated video of the PowerPoint to make notes from?
I'm going to send, no, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do midweek. So on Wednesdays, instead of our meetings, that's when you'll get your notes narrated.
Right. Okay. And we've already had that obviously from the past Wednesday. On
Mondays and Fridays, we're going to have meetings and discussions and kind of set things up.
Right. Okay, cool.
One more thing before we break. Next week, okay, so after we make it through some of this material, I will make quiz number 3 available next week. Okay. And that'll basically be over everything so far in our remote learning module that we've been going over. I'll give you a lot of time to do that as well. I know you guys, I'm hearing from a lot of students, just talking to them that you guys are getting crushed from other classes. Like there's a lot of, things from other, where professors maybe are taking this remote thing a little bit too far. And it makes perfect sense. Jackson asked a question, have classes switched over to pass-fail? No, they have not. All right. The answer, Jackson, is no. Classes have not switched over to pass-fail. That was a discussion that we had, and the faculty voted to continue with the grading scale A through, A through D's, those types of things. Okay. I don't think that's going to change. I think we're going to basically keep that the same this semester. All right. Now, if this crazy bleep continues during the summer classes might be pass-fail. I don't know. All right, but that's a good question to ask right there.
When would summer classes become a possibility?
Like when can you register for them, or when?
No, like so what do you mean about summer classes?
The thing is we're going to, this is a fluid situation, so we're going to see basically how this goes at the end of the semester, and then the faculty are going to come back together and we're going to decide if we should do this thing that we're doing right now, or if we should try something different during the summer in terms of how things are going. But like I said, it's all fluid. Nobody knows what's going on just yet. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish I had more info. I'm trying my hardest, guys. I'm trying my hardest here to make sure that this class isn't a burden on you guys. So like I said, I don't think I've been crushing you with too much work. And like I said, next week coming up, we'll have quiz number 3. That'll be our big thing that we're doing next week. Just make sure you get your forum posts in this weekend if you haven't done it already. And then we'll probably have another CPA during the week next week too, that you can send me. That you guys did a great job on those. Those were really cool to read through. So we'll probably do another one next week on those, just to give you a heads up of what's coming up. Okay. Communicate with me, with all your professors. It's okay to let your professor know, be like, sometimes be like, this is, you're kind of crushing me here with some of these things. If they're a good professor and they're, if they're not, too elitist, they'll realize and they'll take constructive criticism. Okay. So do that with me too. If you guys feel like, we can make something better, I'm not going to take that personally at all. Okay. So let me know any of your thoughts and comments. Awesome. Good stuff. That's it for today. Make sure and I'll get that out, what we're reading over the weekend. But until then, guys, I'll see you Monday, 11:15. We'll go over kind of what we want to do for the week. Then we'll have notes on Wednesday, and then we'll meet again next Friday. Coolio?
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a safe weekend. All right? And have fun. Try to. All right. In the words of Michael, cheers.
Cheers, mate.
All right.